Well, good morning. Day 2. So, yesterday we did, just over 900 k's. Got through to Tambo. Stayed at the little caravan park there. Pitched the tent, walked across the road, had a nice rump steak and a bit of a nice drink there just to settle in for the night. So yeah, got up this morning, had a coffee, hit the road about 6:15, so in Blackall at the moment. Just stopped for a quick stretch and just grabbed a bit of a nice coffee. Then we're just going to poke through to Isisford. From there, at Isisford, we're going to fill everything, fill all the tanks, fill all the bladders, because got a good stretch of over 700 k's to do through to Boulia. The aim is to get to Boulia tonight, and hopefully later on we'll get some footage out through the Diamond 10 area. We'll chuck the video on. Anyway, touch base later. When travelling the outback of Australia, so many of these roads pass through private stations, private property. So if you come across a gate that's closed, make sure you leave it closed when you go through. Just do the right thing. These guys have got a hard enough job as it is trying to farm this wild and barren country. That surface, not a hard base to it anyway, and quite a lot of rocks, so the bike was walking around a bit. Anyway, it's definitely warming up now, so we're about 80 k's out of Stonehenge heading towards Boulia, so we've got another 520 kilometres to Boulia. Righto, touch base later on. Check out the size of this boy. He is a beauty. I had to give him a really wide berth because he was not interested in moving. He wasn't fazed by my presence at all. Right now, I am well into what's known as the Diamantina. This is the area where the Channel Country starts. In January of this year, this area had a tremendous amount of rain, and the Channel Country was full. I had the privilege of flying over this, and to see the vast amount of water covering the land was truly amazing. Now only 8 months later, riding through here, it's hard to imagine. It seems so dry and barren, so flat. But the small rises and falls of this landscape had veins of water stretching for kilometres across. The contrast between seeing it from the air and being in it at ground level is mind-blowing. We definitely are the country of extremes. The water from here eventually makes its way into Lake Eyre. Very little actually remains. I can't even begin to comprehend the challenges and heartache it would be to endure a life living off these lands. For now, I'll just appreciate the beauty as I pass through, just me and my steel horse galloping across this arid land. Well, for some reason, I really haven't had to pay attention to my fuel usage, but in this particular instance, when I filled up at Stonehenge, I had 45 litres on board, which should comfortably get me 800 kilometres, going off all the kilometres I've done on the previous trip. Anyway, I've done not quite 300. Fuel lights on. I've done, so that's nearly 25 litres. I've got 292 kilometres to go, and I've got just shy of 20 litres to put in it. So the only I can think of is, because I changed the sprocket on the front, put a 17 on the front to gear it down, is that it's torquing more, so the engine's working harder to pull it. Like, it's got plenty of power, so it's doing it, but it's drinking more fuel, because I've sat on 115, 120 all day today, so revs have been down at like 4.7, 4.6, just purring along. Really should have had plenty of fuel. Shouldn't be sucking it like it is at all. Didn't use that heavy when I sat on 140 on the last trip, so a bit concerning. But anyway, I'm going to try riding it in fifth gear. Sit on about 100 in fifth gear, revs up a little bit easier, see if I can squeeze out the 300 k's to go. Touch base later. Day 3. Didn't do a check-in yesterday afternoon, but I got into Boulia. So fifth gear worked. Fuel, it was only 15 litres I used for the 292k, so fuel light hadn't even come on. Anyway, so this morning I punched it out. I'm at Tobermory station, 247 kilometres from Boulia. Did that in 2 hours, so I had a really nice run. It's probably 70% bitumen, that one. Wasn't a lot of wildlife, more cows than than anything else. So anyway, we're at this little station. We're just crossed into Northern Territory now, so we were hoping to get a little bit of hoping to get a good old-fashioned farm meal, cooked brekkie this morning, but no, frozen hot dogs, sausage rolls, things like that in the freezer they can heat up in the microwave. But the young ladies offered to make me a toasted sandwich. I'm getting roast beef and onion and cheese and sauce. Unfortunately, they have a coffee machine, so I'm going to get a latte. So anyway, we will check in later on. We'll leave here. We'll head towards Jervois Station. Bye for now. So right now we're heading across the Plenty Highway. I haven't long left Tobermory Station, but as I said, I wanted to share some stupid moments. So talk about a Dumb and Dumber moment. I actually wished I had the camera rolling, but yesterday when I stopped under that tree to put the fuel in and I was worried about my kilometres, so I turned the camera off, I get the fuel bag out. As I go to lift the fuel bag up, for some stupid reason I also grabbed it with my bottom hand and of course pushed the fuel out the spout so it goes squirting up in the air, straight down my face and in my right eye. So then I'm squinting my eye and I'm trying to get the bag because fuel's still pissing it out. It wasn't smart enough to lift the bag down. No. So I'm trying to get the bag into the fuel tank. Can't see, my eye's burning. So I get the bag in there, fuel's all over the front of my bike, start pouring it. Luckily on my side bag just there on those little black pouches I've got water bottles in there. So I'm holding the ADV bag in one hand pouring fuel and the other hand on with my eyes closed reaching grab my water. So I'm standing here, fuel bag, pouring fuel in with one hand and my head up and squirting water into my eye with my water bottle trying to wash the fuel out of my eye. I mean, it must have been one of the most comical things to see. Briefly, I was just pissed. Then I just had to take a step back and just laugh at myself. I mean, look at where you are. So fortunately, the water worked, I washed my eye out, put my helmet on, and as I said, I worked out that in fifth gear the bike was a lot better on fuel, so I comfortably got into Boulia late that afternoon. Again, I didn't film anything when I got in and set up camp because, to be honest, I was absolutely just spent for the day. So anyway, there'll be more stupid to come, so enjoy the journey. We're about 450 kilometres into the day so far, and what the video doesn't show, but if you do notice in the corner of the film, you'll see my visor is flicking in and out of the picture. It's because the wind was just blowing sideways. It was a strong gusty wind, had been there all day, and it's just a constant fight where you're leaning into the wind and it's just pushing your head around and blowing against your body, and you really don't realise just how fatiguing that is on the body. And being out in the centre of across the top of the desert there, it's also a really dry, quite a hot wind, so it takes it out of your body. So you got to make sure you keep plenty of fluids up. And so I had a few stops, got plenty of water, but you just got to stay so focused because you don't realise now we're 2,200 kilometres in, and we're just into the start of day 3. So got to be very mindful of what you're asking your body to do. So I'm one of those guys that I need to stay stimulated to stay focused. So I'll keep the speed up, because if I back it off, I tend to drift, and then I'm not focused on the road or the surface or what's around me, and that's when things can go wrong. So I tend to wind it up a bit more, and right now I'm trying to cover as much ground as possible, because I want to get into Alice Springs this afternoon and get that new rear tyre on, and at least I know I'm almost halfway, and I can take a bit of a breather and just back off a little bit. So anyway, we're almost at Jervois station to get our next lot of fuel.
is something magical about the remote outback of Australia. As the kilometres click by, you and the bike seem to form a bond, a trust that you've got each other. Being able to work through the fatigue, stay focused on the road at all times, but yet somehow still get lost in the journey. Enjoy the freedom and solitude is such an amazing feeling at the end of every day. For most of this trip, not even playing music, just me, my bike, and the vastness into the forever horizon has just been a real energizer for the soul. You feel alive, and as you stop on the top of a rock or a rise, you look out into the mass amount of nothing in every direction, and you start to answer that question, do I have what it takes? Absolutely. For those of you who have never experienced the outback of Australia, all I can say is, do it. For me, I just love the remoteness, the harshness, and the stunning scenery of our great land. Although there is the thought in your mind at all times, I am alone, I am a long way from anyone to come to my aid should something go wrong. It should never stop you. That is the reason we are drawn to adventure, to testing ourselves. No, it's not easy. There are times when you question yourself, but digging deep and rising to the occasion is how we build that self-belief. It's quite an amazing feeling to overcome the sore ass, the tired legs, the stinging eyes when you pull up for the day, set up your tent, kick off your boots, and see your bike behind a campfire, far, far from anywhere. There is a real sense of achievement, an inner peace, a fulfillment that your soul has needed. You've probably noticed a few times on this that the bike's had a few moments on some of those corners and around. It's really moving underneath me. So the road surface changes. It's sandy, it's gravelly, there's a lot of corrugation in it. Massive amount of exposed rock that you're trying to avoid and dodge as well. But it definitely keeps you on your toes. But my gosh, this road has been so much fun. It's just, sometimes you just have a section of road that just encourages the throttle to come on, and fortunately or unfortunately it's taken a lot out of me, because I'm probably about 2,600 kilometres in now and I'm 2.5 days. So yeah, my body's feeling it, but the mind is just going, oh, I just want to have fun. So you push that aside and you just stay focused on the road ahead. But this has been by far the most fun section of road that I've had on the journey so far. About 20 minutes of this footage I've got here, but it was probably about an hour and a half ride at that pace, at that style of riding. So by the time I get to the end of this road to head into Alice, I'm well and truly spent my energy for the day. I'm definitely looking forward to a night in Alice Springs. although I'm really enjoying this trip, like I said, it's my first solo ride. The one thing that's missing, especially on this road, is having that good mate beside you. There's nothing like being out on those roads and just having another mate that you trust sitting in the wheel track beside you. It just changes the environment and just changes the experience, and it's just good to know that you've got someone sharing that experience with you. So hopefully on the next ride I'll be able to have someone tag along with me.
Day 3. Well, did some big Ks actually. So we've done average just over 913 Ks a day for the 3 days. Got into Alice about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Got a new rear tyre fitted to the girl. So we've set up camp in a little caravan park in town, and we just come out to the top of the hill here just to get a bit of a view of the McDonnell Ranges. The iconic Alice Springs sign. The big girl just lurking on the hill, ready to go. So yeah, we're going to back it off a little bit now. We're going to take our time, try and do a bit more video. I do have to try and get this thing charged though, because I want to do a heap more videoing tomorrow. So I need to get this thing charged up so we can actually handle it. What I should have done was bought a second battery. That would have made more sense, but anyway, lessons learnt. Really fun ride this afternoon. Hopefully I captured that video in there. Want to check it out shortly and see that it actually worked, but that was a really fun, fast, good bit of a ride. It was a bit of a workout at the end of the day because I'd already done 600 odd Ks before I hit that. So Was probably a little fatigued, but anyway, it was still fun. Had a ball, and yeah, rear tyre was definitely done by the time I got here, so good thing I ordered one ahead of time. Anyway, we will check in tomorrow.